This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, hosted by Jerry and Mark, your one-stop shop for all horrible movie reviews. From the latest blockbusters and independent films to classics, let Mark and Jerry convince you the world is a dangerous place, though often good for a laugh. Now come and listen to the Horror Movie Show, if you dare.
Bonjour, cher ami.
And good day from Mark.
Oh, I didn't even say my name yet.
Good day, good day.
Je suis Jérôme. Ici la podcast de horror. It's the Horror Movie Show with
we're
Jerry
bilingual up in Canada.
Up in Canada, yeah, very, very. Pig Latin and Surrey English.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Jerry and Mark, and we're here with another episode 173 of the Horror Movie Show. Can you believe we've recorded over 173 of these mothers?
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah, well, that's true. We've done it, so yes, I can believe it.
My jaw's kicking in.
Mark went to the dentist today.
Yeah, strange thing, though, you know? He kept asking me, is it safe?
Yeah, that oil of cloves, though, is worth going for.
As he's drilling into my tooth, and I'm going, thanks, doctor, I really needed this.
Well, at least now you can run.
Yeah.
So, what else is new? Yeah, I mean, we both have been going through dental nonsense. I've got a new bridge in my mouth, which feels like an actual bridge,
like the Golden Gate.
Yeah, exactly, a huge thing. Oh, and just in case we break down and start coughing up blood, want to let you guys know that here in Greater Vancouver, in fact, it isn't just Greater Vancouver. All the way down to Seattle, west to southern Vancouver Island, including Victoria, which is BC's second largest city, and then all the way east to past Kelowna, which is the third largest city. So the majority of British Columbia's population, which is all in the south, is blanketed under wood smoke from various wildfires.
Yeah.
It's really bad a couple of days ago. It's still bad, but it's not as... It doesn't smell like a campfire.
It reminded me of L.A.
Yeah. Well, people were saying, I saw somebody say today that online said it was like getting a free trip to Beijing.
Yeah.
The air quality was
I was
so low.
I live just outside of Vancouver, on an island in the mouth of the Fraser River.
We won't let him into the city proper.
And we're looking at the river, and it's like you could barely see the other side of the river.
It's very smoky.
Oh man! It started stinging my eyes.
Yes, yeah. I felt it in my throat and my eyes. Definitely, a little annoying, tickling cough. So good fun. Yeah, it was really bad on Sunday. It's like it was high up in the atmosphere, and then at some point the winds changed, and they had what's called vertical mixing, which means that the warmer smoke up on top of the atmosphere close to the ground, and it all got mixed up, and suddenly we're breathing wood smoke.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it put me on edge, and it's very much an instinctual animal.
Flight run.
Yeah, an animal thing.
Yeah.
Like there's a fire. There's definitely a forest fire. It may be hundreds of kilometers away, but this is not good.
Yeah, I noticed the bugs weren't out.
Right.
They're kind of hiding. I don't know where they go, but they weren't flying around.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, this is global warming, folks. Anybody who thinks this is just coincidence is crazy. We've had like 30 of the warmest years in the last 35, so this is mental. And they've used up the entire fire budget for the whole province. They used it up before the end of June. Here it is, the first week in July.
Yeah.
And we've never seen a year this bad. So, and we've still got 2, even 3 of the hottest months to go.
Yeah.
Reservoirs are low. The drought that's been hitting California has headed north along the Pacific coast, and we're in it too. It's really scary.
Well, they say we still have 75% reservoir.
Of our reservoirs, yes, but that's where we ought to be mid-August.
Yeah.
Not beginning of July.
Well, I expected a dry summer because there was no snow on the mountains,
no
right?
ice pack.
It's like there was nothing, and usually you can see that stuff into July, into July, beginning of August.
Yeah, although I think you may be thinking back 10 years because there hasn't been much of a snowpack.
Well, usually you look at the lions up there, and they always have a little bit on them, and they'd never had anything.
No, there just wasn't much snow this year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, doom and gloom. Let's get on to something cheery like Terminator Genisys, which is about the end of the world.
Do you like the way they spelled Genesis?
Yeah, I sort of got the idea that it was a company.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be a company, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a different name, a sort of a commercial name for Skynet.
Yeah.
Which never sold with the kids. The idea being that Genisys is a computer operating system along the lines of the OS 10 or
yeah, it kind of made me think of Windows 10 coming online at the end of this month, right?
Oh, and the disaster that will be.
Yeah.
The total disaster that will be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there's a mythical operating system which pretty much takes into account all computers.
And phones.
Yeah.
And cars and everything.
All computers.
Yeah.
Everything that has a computer in it is now going to be slaved into one giant system, which is Skynet. Yeah. And so now Terminator Genisys. Okay, now they have Schwarzenegger as the star, but I'd really say in this movie he's more a supporting actor. The people most on screen are Jai Courtney, who plays Kyle Reese, and Emilia Clarke, who plays Sarah Connor. This is by far, my opinion, of course, this is by far the worst movie in the series.
Really?
I have enjoyed all 4 of the previous movies, and I really like the TV series as well.
Right.
Sarah Connor Chronicles, whatever it was. I was sorry when that ended after just a season and a half. But this movie has cherry-picked the best bits from every movie and TV show, and God knows probably the comic books as well, and shoved them, packed them, stamped them into a little box which doesn't make any sense at all. Like, the story is so convoluted.
It is a little bit,
and, well, it's badly done. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And everybody keeps changing their mind. Like, we can't do this. Okay, we've got to do this. Now, there's no way that we can't let this happen. Okay, we've got to let this happen. The characters are not consistent. The story changes every half hour. It's like everything is turned on its head. John Connor is now a villain.
Yeah, I saw that kind of coming.
Well, yeah, it's in the commercials.
Well, no, I never saw any of the commercials.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that I didn't like that actor. I thought, that guy's always evil.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Because he's an odd-looking man with his little thin lips.
It's not that I didn't like the actor. I've always associated him with evil parts.
Yeah, because he is. He's an odd-looking, thin-lipped man, and he just sort of looks spooky.
Yeah.
And he does. He usually plays psychos.
And so he does.
Yeah, and he does again.
Yeah.
They like to claim, when they make one of these movies, they like to claim, well, it's not a remake, it's a reboot, it's completely original. Well, I didn't find much original in this. It really is just rehashing. The first 15 minutes of it is just a cute way of retelling the exact details from the beginning of the first Terminator movie.
Yeah, I found
doesn't add anything to it. The idea being that it only goes so far, the original story, and then we get shifted into another timeline, another possible future, which is stolen right from the TV show.
Okay.
Right? Because Sarah Connor, in the second movie, or at the third movie, we understand that she died of cancer from radiation she was exposed to, so on. And then the TV show, an alternate future where she continues to exist. Yeah. She doesn't get cancer, or if she does, not yet.
Yeah.
But this movie, Kyle Reese is sent back by John to rescue his mom, Sarah Connor, just like in the first movie. But in the original, Michael Biehn plays Kyle Reese as a soldier, as a man not educated, because he's not from our world. He's
raised by, it's like
very cold, sad, miserable.
Yeah, they're militants.
Yeah,
they're basically raised by militants.
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah. So the new movie, oh my goodness, I went to it by myself one afternoon a few days ago, and I'm just like, almost shouting at the screen. I was getting so incensed at the stupidity and the meanness of it, and the way they just take and take and take, and they didn't give us anything new back.
I can see your point where you say that they cherry pick, little things there, little things there.
Yeah.
I thought the special effects were good because the young Arnold looked great. You know, it's amazing how they can get that realism in there.
You know, that's an actor, and they just put his face on that actor's body.
Yeah. So there was little touches here and there that you can appreciate them making humor of previous events that they don't really cover in there.
Arnold does a good job. He's a Terminator that has been, he was sent back in that timeline to look after Sarah since she was a child. So she calls him Pops, which is sort of amusing.
Yeah.
And they've changed the Terminator. Of course, Cameron himself changed the Terminator in the second movie so that he could, if not emotions, he could at least fake emotions.
Right.
In this one, he's crying. He loves his little Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, is he a puppy or a Terminator?
Yeah, but he's been with her a lot longer, right?
Yeah.
So
I know.
Some sub-programs have developed.
Yes, and given him lacrimose ducts so that he can weep.
Yes.
Yeah, come on.
Well, he has his flesh on the outside, right?
Yeah, he
so
is, right.
There you go.
No, he says in the second movie, why do you cry? I could never cry, but now I understand why.
Yeah.
You know, and that's as close as he can come to
because that's as
sadness.
much as Arnold could do at the time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, of course, I can't fault the movie for the special effects, but special effects are just one part of it.
The only movie it really stole a lot from was the first movie. I don't think there was a lot of the other movies in it.
Like I say, from the TV show, it stole the idea of another timeline.
Yeah.
So you can throw everything away.
Yeah.
Right? From the most recent movie, the fourth one, they stole the idea that there's yet another kind of Terminator. The Skynet itself is experimenting on human beings. That's a steal from the fourth movie. And also, in the second movie...
The T-2000 was...
Yeah, the liquid metal villain.
I mean, geez, there's nothing new there.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And another chase scene, you know.
Too many chase scenes.
Oh, yeah. And more of the shooting of the eye out and all the liquid and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm going, geez, you know...
Been there, done that, and it was, 20-odd years ago?
Yeah.
I think 85 when that came out.
And that was great in 85.
It was fantastic. 30 years ago.
Yeah.
My God.
But it's like, why bother with the same thing? Yeah. Show us another Terminator.
Well, exactly. That's why, to me, this movie's a big ripoff. It's directed by Alan Taylor, written by Laeta Kalogridis and Patrick Lussier. Stars Arnold, Jai Courtney, Emilia Clarke. People will recognize her from Game of Thrones. She does bear a passing resemblance to Sarah Connor. More like Sarah Connor's little hot sister. Jason Clarke plays John Connor. Same initials. J.K. Simmons is funny. He plays O'Brien, who's like a conspiracy nut, a former cop who thinks he's on to either aliens or time travelers, whatever. And of course he's right. Yeah. Courtney B. Vance plays Miles Dyson, although he's got a very small part in this, Miles Dyson. And the liquid metal T-1000 is played by Byung-hun Lee. And he does a good job, and he even has, again, a passing resemblance to Robert Patrick, who played the...
Yeah,
the original. He's not a big man, he's just a normal-looking, fit young man.
But why did he always convert to him? You know, when he can convert to anybody he touches.
And also, he's got more powers, because now he's like flicking boogers off his finger, and there's a tracking device that'll tell him everything that's happened. He's flicking another booger onto dead Arnold Terminator and making it work for him. Yeah. None of that was displayed. If the T-1000 could do that in the second movie, why did he never do it?
Yeah.
Because they're cheating.
Yeah,
they're cheating.
Yeah,
they're giving him extra powers. You know, it's just
different timeline.
Yeah.
Different timeline.
Yeah, different timeline. The only thing that's consistent in that timeline is Skynet. So you know, the Terminators ought to, at the very least, act the same as they did previously.
Yeah.
What a
and the other thing is, now that we're dealing with all these different timelines, it seems like it doesn't matter if you kill Sarah Connor
because she'll go on somewhere else.
Reese as well, because all they had to do to stop all this insanity is say, I'm never going to have sex with you.
Yeah.
We're never going to have a kid. Therefore, John Carter can't be evil. He won't exist. So I'm going, this just doesn't make sense. It's like...
No, it doesn't. And the other thing that really, really galled me, and this is what was making me angry enough to want to throw something at the screen. I started to say this earlier. Michael Biehn was so good in the first one, so stoic, and he's shot and he just takes it, and he's so tough and he's so good at what he does, barring the fact that all he's got is like shotgun. He hasn't got any decent weapons to kill a Terminator. Yeah. But he's so good and he's so solid, and he's also likable in a way. And so is Sarah Connor, of course, played by the original. But in this movie, all they do is bicker. They bicker like they've been married for 20 years, and it is so obnoxious to watch. These people don't just not know each other, they actively dislike each other right from the start. It's so stupid. They've taken everything that we like about the Terminator franchise and they've pooped on it.
Yeah.
They wasted such an opportunity. What $100 million more?
Probably. Yeah. Usually I look that stuff up, but no, I didn't on this one.
Terminator 2 was the most expensive movie of its day. I think that was like $80 million.
Yeah. I liked Arnold's performance.
Sure. Yeah, he's
thought
funny.
I agree with you. The storyline was too convoluted, and it didn't make sense in that, these timeline structures and all this stuff. Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah.
It was just too complex.
It was.
And then it had less to do with Skynet.
Yeah.
Than John Carter. Trying to kill them.
Yeah. Now, what I liked about the TV series, and of course this is touched on in 2 and 3. In the first movie, we're told that, and of course this is something that Kyle Reese wouldn't actually know, but he believes that after the Terminator is sent through, and then he's sent through to protect Sarah, and then the time machine, the time displacement equipment is destroyed. Well, of course, he couldn't know that. And we now know from other movies and the TV show that they're sending people and machines back. Like every week they swap the time displacement machine back and forth. And there's like, wait a second, we've got a new Terminator, says Skynet, that looks like a piece of chewing gum. Send it back. Maybe that can choke Sarah Connor. It's so stupid. I
like the fact that they send Kyle Reese back, and within one day he's flipping forward in time, and another, it's like whoa, it's like bang bang. Yeah. He's in 1997.
So and Arnold and Sarah have built a time displacement machine themselves.
And why couldn't they build a dumb thing that'll destroy the T-1000?
Yeah.
Why not a good weapon against them instead of shotguns?
Yeah.
It's like, if they can build a time machine, why not a good weapon?
Yeah. And why doesn't Arnold, for the sake of humanity, simply use the time machine, go back and kill Miles Dyson? Sarah had the right idea in the second movie.
That's true. They had another time machine sitting
go back further and make sure that it never happens. But of course, time travel is, and this is the thing about time travel movies. You start dealing with fantasy because it's so impossible. It's not like proper science fiction.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with time travel, you really are dealing with nonsense. Because, it is with the paradoxes and so on.
Yeah. It's like, what's real? And can there be two different timelines? Mm-hmm. And can you change a timeline?
Yeah.
If you go back in time, are you going to do something that creates whatever timeline you're on?
And Kyle Reese sees himself as a child.
Yeah. And gets talked to as this little thing that goes through the movie, this little saying.
Yeah.
We won't tell you.
That's right. Yeah.
We won't bother telling you about it because we'll let you enjoy that.
Well, definitely wait for video. But I wanted to like it. I really did. Don't see most of these movies we see either on screeners or on video, but I wanted to see that on the big screen. Now, let's move slightly sideways to another Schwarzenegger movie, also this year, 2015. Directed by Henry Hobson. It's more or less his first big screen acting job. Written by John Scott III. The guy doesn't use Roman numerals, so
yeah,
I'm assuming it's John Scott III. Perhaps he's a robot. I don't know.
Yes.
From the future.
Exactly.
Stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as Wade Vogel, Abigail Breslin as Maggie Vogel, Jolie Richardson as Caroline, who is Arnold's second wife, not the mother of Maggie.
His stepmother.
His stepmother, that's right. And Jodie Moore as Dr. Kaplan. And the movie is called Maggie, and it's Arnold's entry into zombie movies.
Yeah.
But these are, in a way, sort of laid-back zombies, because the zombie disease will put you into the Walking Dead kind of zombie horror, but it takes weeks.
Yeah.
So Maggie has run away from home. Arnold, her father, goes out, takes a few weeks to find her. When he finds her, she's been bitten, and now it's just a matter of time before she has to be killed. So it's really just sort of a sad time.
It is.
It's really low-key, hey?
Oh,
more acting than I've ever seen Arnold do.
Slow, methodical, depressing.
Yeah.
Well acted.
Yes, well acted.
There are a few things in here that I just didn't think would ring true in a real type of situation like this. In that they let these wannabe zombies, or going to be zombies, roam around. Unchaperoned.
Right.
And I don't think the government would ever do that.
Right.
Because if you get bit and they know you're going to change, they wouldn't wait around for you to change. Well, they would go and wipe you out right away.
There is a cop in the area who's pushing.
Sympathetic.
But the deputy, that cop, he's pushing. You know, it's time. Let's we'll shoot her for you. You know, whatever. Yeah, and it is. It's horrible. But interesting. I don't think they needed to stretch it out over weeks. I think a week would have been plenty.
Yeah.
And that would have fit in with the general zombie attitude, because depending on how badly you're bitten on, say, Walking Dead,
it could take hours.
It can take hours. It can take minutes. It can take several days.
Yeah.
Even several days.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, it just depends. And of course, I like the idea as far as zombies go. You know, everybody wants to change the rules and make their zombies a little cooler. 28 days later, they're super fast and ruthless. And strictly speaking, they're not zombies because they're not dead. They're just very, very sick.
Right.
But
once again, I mean, it's like the families are taking care of these going to be zombies.
Yeah.
And of course, you find that some families are hiding them away from the government. They have them locked away, and some of them escape and cause more havoc.
Right.
And it's this whole, like I said, I just don't think it's realistic in the fact that the government would never let that happen.
Right.
But this is a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger and his daughter.
Yeah.
And it's the relationship they have and the torment that they're going through because they know the inevitable.
Yes, it's about letting go and preparing for the end.
And also making amends to one another.
Yeah.
So it's more than just a zombie movie.
It is.
In fact, it's really got little to do with zombies, except for the fact that they're there.
She could have cancer.
Yeah.
You know. No, seriously.
Yeah, you're right.
Could have cancer.
You're exactly. This could be, any terminal ailment.
Yeah.
So it's like, why zombies? I don't know. But
because they're in box office.
Yeah, there you go. But this isn't apparent. I mean, who would know that Maggie is about zombies?
Yeah. I know.
It's not apparent. But it's a good movie, but not a typical zombie movie because there isn't a lot of running around killing and all that stuff. So it's a lot more talking and a lot more soul searching.
Yeah, and this is all taking place a couple of years after the initial outbreak, which would have been frantic.
Yes.
But that's been covered by, a million.
And they really don't go much into it. They don't mention how widespread it is, if it's in other countries.
I don't think people would want to dwell on that, but they could have told us more of the backstory, but we know the backstory of the zombie outbreak, and we know it's hideous and horrible. And here's Arnold, a farmer, and he's out. I'll be in the back 40.
Yeah,
he's out there on his tractor. But it really is the first movie I can think where he isn't just playing a parody of himself. He is acting. He's playing a loving father in this.
Yeah.
And he's full of concern. And, but then the man was governor of California for a couple of terms, so I have to assume that he can act.
You're always assuming things.
I assume a lot. Makes an ass of you and me.
Yes, but I thought he did a decent job in this as well. So 2 movies that he's done decent jobs.
Yes, he's probably the best thing in Terminator Genisys as well, which is not saying a lot because the
rest of it just is
very low. But he is funny. He's been practicing because he's been with Sarah for 20 years. And then he doesn't jump with them. He can't because he's got metal exposed. He couldn't take the time travel. He'd explode.
So he just waits.
So he waits. And he waits another 20 years, and he's much grayer. He's probably just looking like himself now. That must have been a relief not having to
put so much makeup.
Look younger. Yeah. And so here he is. He's now an aged. He keeps his line throughout the movie is, "I'm old but not obsolete." Yeah. So there he is. He's still there, and he's having to battle his younger self and the liquid metal man. All the things that we've seen him do before in previous movies. So he's not called on to do much acting, but every now and then he gives us like a big forced grin, which is the best he can approximate a smile. But I liked him in both these movies. I just didn't like Terminator Genisys. That's a shame.
Well, if you say you didn't see any of the other Terminator movies, would you think it was
I don't think I'd understand what the hell was going on. It was hard enough to understand when I do know the backstory and what Terminators are, but I don't think they'd be well explained in this movie if you didn't know something about the franchise.
Yeah, it's hard to say because you do.
Yeah.
You can't just unless you take someone with you that hasn't seen any.
Exactly. It's like watching Ridley Scott's great Blade Runner. Because I saw that the first couple or 3 times with Harrison Ford's narration. I can't appreciate what it's like for someone without the narration.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the director's preferred way of watching
that narration's there whether you want it or not.
It's in my head.
You know what he's thinking.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, this is when he says this.
Yeah. And unfortunately that had to be added by the studio demanded that narration was added.
Yeah.
And it probably isn't. Well, I don't think it is necessary. There's plenty of people who love the movie who've never seen it.
But he does say some things that are kind of interesting, right?
Oh yeah, you get a little backstory. But it's interesting, but does it add to the movie, or is it just
I think it does.
more padding?
I think it does add because there is some background stuff that they mention. Right. About skinheads and the
skin jobs.
Skin jobs. There you go.
Yeah.
Skin jobs and the reaction to them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the whole police, the mentality and things like that. So I think it does add.
Yeah,
but is it absolutely necessary just to tell the story? No.
Yeah.
But
I would rather see the version that Ridley Scott wanted us to see rather than the one that the studio.
What was it?
Forced him.
He just recently directed the Exodus one.
Yes.
Yeah, he says there's a 4-hour version of that he wants to put out.
We'll be talking about Exodus, the latest version of the Super Moses story. We'll be doing that in the next show. So we got another sci-fi movie to talk about. Tomorrowland, 2015 movie, directed by Brad Bird, written by Damon Lindelof and Brad Bird. Britt Robertson plays Casey Newton, a young gal. George Clooney plays Frank Walker, a former whiz kid. Hugh Laurie plays Nix, who's sort of the president of this futuristic society. Tim McGraw plays the father of Casey. Keegan-Michael Key plays Hugo. And Judy Greer plays Casey's mom, Jenny Newton. So, I'd say this is another bit of a mishmash. It's got some interesting pieces, but I was disappointed overall.
I thought the first 2/3 of this movie was great. The last third kind of went bleh.
Right.
There was no payoff at the end.
Yeah.
Whereas the beginning was great because there was all sorts of weirdness happening.
Right.
And they were setting up all sorts of nice little things here and there. And it just interest me. It was interesting and wonderful and new kind of thing.
Right.
And then it just petered out.
Plot has to do with this young girl, and she starts getting glimpses of this futuristic society. And she's even... what did she get?
She got a little...
Oh, a pin.
Pin.
A pin, that's right.
And every time
which comes from, like, the 1950 World's Fair.
Yeah.
And, Disney is plugging itself all over the place in this movie. It's a small world and all these things. Maybe it was 1960. Anyway, Tomorrowland refers to this mythical, futuristic city-state in which all the brightest human beings, and it was originated hundreds of years ago by geniuses and continues to exist. And then George Clooney comes along as a boy genius, and he's welcomed to this city, which exists and doesn't exist at the same time.
Yeah,
sort of in phase with reality.
Yeah.
But he invents something bad, and the future dies, and everybody's miserable, and he's kicked out.
Yeah.
He's kicked out of the future society. But not before he helps himself to a whole bunch of inventions so that he can...
And he's still creating inventions as well. In a old house out in the country somewhere.
Yeah.
That was all the interesting part, It's like where was this world? What does this girl have to do with it? She ends up finding George Clooney character. He tells her the place doesn't exist anymore, and that it's abandoned, and so it seems hopeless. Right. And then there's a chase scene, and all these guys are after her, and he's helping her get away, and all this stuff. And all that was very entertaining until it got muddled with what's the agenda here? What is the final outcome of? Does humanity succeed or doesn't humanity succeed?
Yeah, and it really starts laying it on thick that global warming and all the problems that we've got on Earth are not our fault. What a load of crap that is. What an excuse that is to walk away from our responsibility and our guilt. Which kind of sickened me that this movie would be like an apology for our bad behavior. Very unrealistic, and I don't think that's a healthy message to put to children. And let's face it, Mark, this is a movie for kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
None of these people act like grown-ups. And the young girl who's the main character, she's just out and out stupid. At one point, she's in her house, and she realizes that when she closes her eyes, she can see the city of the future, whatever, and there it is in the distance. So she starts walking towards it, and she bumps into something, and she opens her eyes, and it's a wall in her house, right? Okay, so she's still in her house. She realizes she's still in her house, yet she can see the future city. She knows what direction it's in, so she closes her eyes again and promptly falls down the stairs. Get outside, you idiot! Before you start walking in the dark again.
She ends up in a swamp at one point.
Oh, she's so dumb. And yet she's supposed to be like the savior of humanity. She's supposed to be a mega genius. Well, she's not. She's a dimwit.
I don't know so much the mega genius part, but she's the one with the hope.
Yeah.
Key ingredient.
But she's a rocket scientist in the making, She's going to revolutionize the future city. They just have to get rid of Hugh Laurie's character. He's a dick.
Which again, I mean, it's like there's this guy in charge of the future city, and he's decided that nope, humanity isn't going to make it, so let's make them all depressed.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
It made no sense. Plus he just turns out to be a murderer. He just turns out to be like a maniac trying to murder George Clooney, and none of the bad things that he does are properly explained.
Yeah, and why not try to fix everything?
Yeah, I know.
Why give up?
They've got these huge powers, but he's decided, no, he just wants to retire, and it didn't make sense. I'm sorry. Again, hoping to like Tomorrowland. It looked great.
Brad Bird, the director, I mean, he's done other things as well.
Mostly
he did
cartoon movies.
Yeah, and he also did the last Mission Impossible movie, not the one coming out.
Right, the
previous one.
Yeah, lots of Simpsons episodes and stuff like that.
And I liked all his other works. Yeah. I mean, I like The Incredibles. I think it's a great thing. And he's actually doing an Incredibles 2 coming up.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this movie. so much.
Right.
But the ending just didn't ring true to me.
It doesn't make sense.
It just flattens out.
Yeah.
And becomes depressing, if nothing else.
Yeah. Apologizing for us useless humans. Well, let's move on to a movie that is a little more adult, a little more horrific, too. It's a 2013 movie called Enemy, directed by Denis Villeneuve, a Québécois director, written by Javier Guillon. Excuse my pronunciation. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, who has been having a tremendous couple of years. His Nightcrawler was just tremendous, made our top 10 list for last year. Jake Gyllenhaal plays two characters, Adam and Anthony. His wife, played by Melanie Laurent, Sarah Gadon, plays Helen, the wife of the other guy, and Isabella Rossellini plays Mother. This is a weird little movie.
Again, it's Canadian.
Yeah.
So it's shot in Toronto.
Right.
And it's this just weird thing where this guy finds his doppelganger kind of guy.
Yeah, in a movie. He sees his double. The two characters, Adam and Anthony, and one of them is quite a nice guy. If a little weak, he's like a wimp. He's afraid of a lot of things. The other guy is a bit of a sociopath.
Yeah.
And he's willing to do anything to get what he wants. So they quickly come to blows. The nice guy seeks out the actor. The actor is like angry that there's a guy who looks just like him, whereas the other guy is just sort of like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
How can we be doubles?
And the fact that they swap wives at one point.
Yeah, it's creepy.
That is really weird.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very, the only word I can think of is creepy.
Yeah, weird and creepy.
Yeah.
I really do think that Gyllenhaal is
he likes the creepy stuff.
Some of his best stuff these days. I mean, you compare this to Prince of Persia, it's a lot better. But Nightcrawler was such a good movie last year, where again he played a sociopath. He played a guy with absolutely no morals.
I think this came out relatively quick sort order of that movie. So
this is 2013, so this one was actually made before, or at least released before.
I watched those two movies really close to one another because we've been sitting on this movie for a long time.
Yeah.
After watching both of them, I'm going, Jake, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, you're just And he's done other weird movies as well.
His sister has made a few weird movies too.
Yes,
Secretary, for example, which from what I understand does 50 Shades of Grey.
Her name's Jill, right?
No. Maggie.
Maggie
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Her Secretary movie is far superior. I haven't seen 50 Shades of Grey, but it's a terrific movie, and I've heard many people say that it is superior to 50 Shades of Grey as far as getting into a gently sadomasochistic sexual relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, it's her and James Spader.
I know a lot of people are making fun of 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
They think it's just silly.
Well, it's softcore porn for housewives.
Yeah.
And I apologize to housewives. I suppose anybody who doesn't read much would find it titillating. Yeah. But, I mean, you want to see some fun? Go watch Last Tango in Paris. There's some sadomasochistic wildness for you.
Yeah, but, it's not safe sadomasochism.
Oh, hell no. No.
There's no contract. Oh. As far as I know, this guy draws up a contract.
Hand me the butter. Yeah. Things.
The safe word. There's no safe word.
No. Okay, our next movie, another small one, this one from 2014. It's called The Guest, directed by Adam Wingard, who's done a lot of terrific stuff. I'm always interested to see what he's up to. He did You're Next, I believe.
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
One of my favorite movies of the last few years. So he directed it, written by Simon Barrett. Stars Dan Stevens as David. He's the guest. Maika Monroe as Anna Peterson. And Maika was just in another excellent movie, It Follows. She was the lead in that. Did a terrific job in It Follows. Brendan Meyer plays Luke. Sheila Kelly plays Laura. That's her dad and mom. Leland Orser plays Spencer Peterson. I guess that's a brother. And Lance Reddick plays Major Carver. So the idea is that this guy, David, shows up at the Peterson house. And the Petersons have lost their son. He was a soldier in Iraq or Afghanistan and was killed.
Right.
This guy comes back and says, I was a great friend of your son's. I was with him when he died. He said, dying wish, please go and see my family and tell them I love them, blah, blah, blah. Well, of course, he's got nowhere to stay, so reluctantly, not all of them want him to stay, but he is invited to stay, and he moves in, handsome young man. Well, people start dying.
Well, he does help the family out.
Yes.
The son's having problems at school, and he has bullies and things like that. And good thing this guy's around, because he's teaching him how to really kill people.
Really defend himself to the death. Yeah.
So, there's the, little things that are happening around, and he's there to, in the background, beating the crap out of people.
Yeah, he is. He's a psycho. It isn't just that he's a psycho and he's moved in and that he's taken somebody else's identity and misrepresented himself and didn't even know the Peterson soldier boy. None of that's really creepy, because there's even more twists as to what this guy's problems are.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's good. I enjoyed the movie. It's a pure pot boiler. It's got no reason to exist except to be an entertainment. This isn't deep storytelling, but it's very well done. It would be a good double bill with You're Next, something like that. I put it up there with any of Wingard's other good movies.
Yeah, Wingard also did a couple of the parts in VHS and VHS too.
Yes.
So he's we've come across him many times.
ABC's of Death.
Is he in there as well?
He's in there, I believe. Yeah, I think he's the one who does the funny one about the rabbit, about killing the rabbit.
Oh,
right. That was one of my favorite.
That was in the first one, yeah. The first ABC.
No, that was the second one.
Was it?
I think it was, yeah. In any case, I believe that was his. R is for rabbit. Let's hit a movie here that they contacted us to review very kindly. We do appreciate that. It's out of Israel, and I don't think we've reviewed a horror movie from Israel. It's called Goldberg and Eisenberg, Till Death Do Us Part, a 2013 movie written and directed by Oren Carmi. It stars Yitzhak Lauer as Goldberg, Yahav Gal as Eisenberg, and Ronnie Dotan as Noah. That is a woman, Ronnie. She's the girlfriend of Goldberg.
Yeah, I felt sorry for her.
Well, not really girlfriend, more a female friend.
Well, it's like they just started dating.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she has her idiosyncrasies as well.
Yeah.
But that's right. They just started going out, and she's actually looks like Goldberg's going to get lucky. And
she actually likes Goldberg, but Goldberg has this stalker, and she just wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's like he says, go figure that out, and then maybe I'll see you later.
That's right, yes. Poor
but,
Goldberg.
it's...
So the stalker is Eisenberg, and poor Goldberg has done nothing truly wrong to Eisenberg, but Eisenberg has decided to focus his anger and his weirdness on poor Goldberg.
And it's mostly, they meet in a park, and they
dog walking area of the park.
Yeah, he's sitting on a bench and
looking for trouble.
And Eisenberg decides that he just doesn't like him.
Yeah.
And he's always showing up.
He's always there.
Yeah. And he's always...
like standing outside the guy's apartment at night.
I'm thinking...
He's in every restaurant.
He's also manipulating Goldberg.
Yeah.
Into doing things that he
blackmailing him, sort of.
Later regrets doing, but he gets pushed by this guy to the point where, and you wonder how much of that is orchestrated and how much it isn't orchestrated, because sometimes you wonder if Eisenberg could be that smart.
Right.
But then you see these other scenes and you go, holy what the heck?
Yeah.
And he keeps goading him.
Mark.
Yeah, goading him more and more and more until the point where, it's not an easy movie to watch.
No,
it's a very uncomfortable movie. Kind of pushes you out there, and you kind of think, well, what would I do in that situation? Right. You're always thinking that. And did he do the right thing? I mean,
it made me think this is a little esoteric, but it made me think of the stories of Franz Kafka, the paranoia of Kafka's characters, like in Metamorphosis, the young man who wakes up to find himself turned into a gigantic beetle. And there he is at home, and his family, his sister and his mom and dad, have to deal with the fact that the only one in the family who was bringing in money, the son, has now turned into a giant beetle. And how do they react?
Which one? Paul, George, Ringo?
Yeah, really. Yeah. Well, that would be more money. Yeah. Oh, it's a wild story, but it has that sort of otherworldly, dreamlike, nightmarish quality that Goldberg and Eisenberg had. And
the police are useless.
Oh, they just become hostile to poor Goldberg because, as far as they're concerned, he's just an annoyance.
Yeah. Yeah. To the point where they practically torture him at one point.
Well, they want him to go and apologize. Or go and we want you two to come and shake hands, kiss and make up, and everything will be fine, you know. And Goldberg says, no, I'm not going to do that. I want you to do something about this guy because he's harassing me.
Yeah.
And the cops are like, ooh, little girls get her panties in a bunch. Ooh. They're so miserable to him.
And did you see towards the end that what Goldberg finally does came out of blue. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's and then all of a sudden everything goes nuts at the end.
Yeah.
It's like he got pushed to the point.
Yeah.
And
which is sort of Eisenberg's point, I think. Eisenberg is getting off pushing this guy's buttons. And you say, is he smart enough to manipulate poor Goldberg like this? Well, he isn't. But he's a lunatic and a liar. And when we see him with his people near the end of the movie, we realize that he's an asshole to everybody. Nobody likes Eisenberg. He's so pathetic and sad. And unfortunately for Goldberg, they crossed paths.
Yeah.
But it's a really
and it kind of makes you wonder what happens after the movie ends.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
It's like, okay, what are they going to do with this? Because they know that things aren't the way they are. No. They seem.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting movie.
It is.
And really, really well done. But it's an uncomfortable movie. And
it is.
And it's not a fast-paced movie.
No.
It's a lot of talking, a lot of uncomfortable dialogue.
Yeah.
And so if you like that kind of movie, it's the movie for you.
And all in Hebrew, but subtitles were not onerous to read. There isn't so much talking that you can't keep up.
I noticed when there were some German spoken, the Nazi guys that show up, and the subtitles are in German.
Oh, were they? Oh, maybe the version you saw.
No, just those sections.
Oh, well,
they didn't bother translating the German.
If the main characters wouldn't understand them, then why should we?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But I thought that was funny.
It is. Yeah. Well, I don't remember that. Okay, now, we've talked about a few weird movies in this. Let's talk about something even weirder and more dangerous. A documentary called Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief. This was made for HBO based on the book of the same title by Lawrence Wright, 2015 movie directed by Alex Gibney, and the screenplay written by him based on Lawrence Wright's book. So lots of interviews with former church members, some of them famous. The one who has a lot to say on camera, former church member Paul Haggis, who is a TV and film writer and director. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. They start off with just the sort of looking at it as a business and how
L. Ron Hubbard
L. Ron Hubbard manipulates people and how he set up his ridiculous so-called church.
And he was just out to sell books.
Oh, of course he was.
That's all he was there for.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's just rubbish. And then they get into the celebrities, because it is a religion that relies to a very great extent on celebrities like Tom Cruise and Kirstie Alley and John Travolta to push its agenda and gain membership from the general public. Most people who get into Scientology are probably not very bright. I mean, you can't be bright to swallow this stuff. But what is most fascinating is when, a little more than halfway through the movie, they get into the real wacko belief stuff
Yeah.
about Lord Xenu using gigantic 727s to fly all these people, all these aliens from other worlds to the planet Earth.
That were all in the 1950s.
Crashes the airplanes into giant volcanoes, uses atom bombs to seal up the volcanoes, so all the souls of these dead aliens then invade human beings millions of years later, or billions of years later, as if the Earth is billions, hundreds of billions of years old.
Yeah.
And it's absolute rubbish. He ignores all science and just creates the science fiction story, which he insists is true and which his devoted followers believe is true.
Yeah, but only the higher ups gets to know that part of it.
Well, yeah, but it's public knowledge now.
Yeah, now it is.
Yeah, but yes, for a long time, and that's because it wasn't part of the original books. It got added in later in handwriting from L. Ron Hubbard, scribbled out on notepaper. And it was only invented by L. Ron Hubbard because all the rich people who'd risen as high as they could in the church demanded more. So he said, all right, you want more? I'll give you more.
And that's when he really
invented Xenu.
Yeah, that's when he really wanted to give them a mind screw.
Yeah.
He said, all right, you've given us that much money. I'm not long on this earth. He was probably pretty ill at the time when he wrote that stuff.
That was like in the 60s. When he came up with the Xenu stuff.
Did he?
And he lived, well, if he died 20 years ago, I don't even think it was 20 years, but he always had to be one step ahead of the law. For a couple of decades at least, he lived on a boat in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Because, here he is at Cannes, and, the authorities are coming. All right, let's go to Monte Carlo. Oh, the authorities are coming. Okay, let's go to bloody Cairo.
Just because he didn't want to pay taxes.
Oh, yeah, that's a big part of it. Yeah, but also he'd broken specific laws in many countries, tax laws and other types of laws. He'd just taken advantage of suckers. You know? So he was, no better than a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme.
Well, there was a lot of psychological brainwashing.
Well, any religion does take advantage of weakness. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's put it this way. Some people need religion.
Right.
They just need it.
Yeah.
And these are the types of people that they can take advantage of.
That they prey on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been any religion. Yeah. It's like taking a person that has psychological problems and giving them what they need. Support, companionship, acceptance.
Answers.
And feeding them a philosophy that they can attach to so that they can believe in something.
Yeah, and they can make it their own.
Yeah. And he does this very well. I mean, it's
I suppose. Yes. They're all ridiculous. If you compare what he wants you to believe with what, the strict tenets of the Roman Catholic Church. With bread and wine turning into blood and
and the resurrection of dead and things like that.
Virgin bleeding pregnancies, Give me a break. This is the greatest lie a woman ever told to her husband. Come on, Mary. Really? Honest to God, Joseph. Okay. All right. If you say so, dear.
But that's even if they even existed.
Well,
he's like a story told by somebody else way back.
Yeah.
They stole so much of that stuff from thousands of years previous.
Yes, Egyptian Osiris myth has a virgin birth. It has a murder at the hands of his former followers. It has a resurrection. It has 12 disciples. All this stuff. All the miracles, raising a guy from the dead, walking on water. All these things are in the Osiris myth.
Yeah.
But the Egyptians knew it was a myth. None of them believed it as the truth. And the early Christians, half of them wanted to believe that all the words in the Bible were literally true, and they were the ones who went around and scraped the stones with Osiris myths written on them because they didn't want anybody saying, oh, come on, you just ripped off the Egyptians.
Yeah, there you go. And that's pretty much what happens here. Now, the scary part, when it gets towards the end of this documentary, they've gotten billions of dollars of assets.
Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of scary.
I saw their property in San Francisco. It looks like a giant Greek alien temple. It looks like something you'd find on the dark side of the moon. And
they also mentioned there's only 50,000 active members now.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Maybe those ones working for the church worldwide.
Maybe.
Because there's got to be millions of followers.
Well.
Yeah.
But they put out the 50,000. I'm like, that's not a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it's got to be way more than that.
Yeah, but billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Socked away in properties.
And they are absolutely naked as far as if you want to climb the church ladder, you have to give money.
Yeah.
They're absolutely bare naked, obvious.
And they didn't start out that way. It was like classes you took.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was like, give me money.
Yeah.
And when they got a bunch of rich guys in there. Yeah. And I guess that's what, the rich guys thought, hey, the guys in the higher up said, well, why should we provide anything else? Just give us money.
Yeah.
It's like, and they went for it.
Right.
It's like, and these guys are, the guys that are in the documentary, they're saying, they really know how to push your buttons and force you into doing something you don't want to do.
Well, that's it. They're willing to use all kinds of blackmail and whatever sneaky, slimy.
And these
because they learn about you. They learn your intimate secrets, and then they blackmail you with
that was one of the things that they do, is that they have you go into these sessions where you tell them your innermost feelings and even the things you didn't do but want to do.
Right.
Everything that in your imagination from past lives.
It would be like a Catholic priest or a psychiatrist turning on you and saying, okay, I'm going to use this against you.
You have this phobia, you have this, and we can blackmail you with this, and oh, well, wouldn't it be
so mean-spirited?
And then the fact that if somebody leaves the church, they go on this all my jihad against them.
Yes.
In the papers and following them and videotaping them and surveilling them.
But that's really common with cult/religions. Jehovah's Witnesses can be pretty brutal that way. I think the Mormons as well can be pretty brutal that way.
Oh, we're going to be surveillanced after this?
Surveilled, yeah.
Oh my
okay, let's. I just want to say one thing before we go back and look at the movies we talked about. Last episode, I was really mean. I couldn't remember a damn thing about the movie Bloody Bloody Bible Camp, 2012 movie directed by Vito Trabucco and written by Trabucco and Shelley McIntyre. It stars Reggie Bannister as Father Richard Cummings. Get it? Dick Cummings. Dick Cummings. Tim Sullivan as Sister Mary Chopper, also plays Eugene, and Ron Jeremy plays Jesus. And all I could remember when I had to talk about this last episode was that Ron Jeremy plays a sort of a tolerant Jesus Christ, dumpy, fat, hairy, aging Jesus Christ, who looked like a former porn star. And I want to read the little description of the movie because there might be some people who find it funny. I was in a bad mood when we recorded it. I really couldn't remember anything about it. It says, in 1977, a group of young, horny, out-of-control Christians are spending a fun-filled weekend at the Happy Day Bible Camp. Their impure antics rile up a sadistic, crazy nun known as Sister Mary Chopper. One by one, these youthful sinners play a bloody penance for their sinful acts. 7 years later, another group of Bible-toting Christian wannabes return to the Happy Day Bible Camp. All ignore the warnings from the local folk of the grisly murders that took place 7 years prior. Is Sister Mary Chopper dead, or is she just waiting for backsliding Christians to commit sins of the unholy? So, I like where they're coming from with this movie, but the acting was pretty bad, the pacing was not very good, and, we've seen a zillion movies set in camps.
Yes.
And I won't recommend it, but I don't want to just dismiss it because, they really put a lot of effort into it, and I wish them luck. But
well, it sounds like a good movie.
Yeah, there you go. If nuns... Oh, my God, was it ever bloody, too? I mean, they call it Bloody Bloody Bible Camp. The two bloodies are necessary because it is extra bloody.
A little blood on my blood.
And the funny thing is that, okay, people, more often than not, they get murdered by being stabbed in the guts. Over and over. I mean, like 80 stabs to the guts. The very first one usually causes them to cough blood up, really like blah, and that just continues so that they are soaked in blood. The killer's soaked in blood. The room is soaked. The cameraman is soaked in blood. So again, if that's your cup of tea, hey, Enjoy. Okay, let's quickly go through these movies because we're running over an hour here. That's a long show. Terminator Genisys. I would say if you're a completist, wait for the video.
Although it does look good, but the story is a mess.
It's a mess. Maggie, a good zombie movie, I thought.
Well, I thought it was more of a daughter and father movie.
Yeah, good one for Father's Day.
Yeah,
next year, Father's Day. Tomorrowland.
I just thought it petered out. I thought it started off really good, but it petered out.
Right. I think it betrayed the fact that it was more for kids than grown-ups, and they didn't seem to give a damn about consistency. Enemy, Jake Gyllenhaal. Very good, weird little movie about doubles.
It is really weird.
Yeah. Good double bill with Nightcrawler. Yeah. Also starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
If you want to be really depressed.
Weirded out. The Guest, Adam Wingard's 2014 movie. I thought it was well done, but it doesn't aspire to be anything more than a thriller.
You know what's coming. You know it's not nothing new here.
No.
Except for at the very end where they throw out this one thing and you go, oh.
Yeah. No, not a lot of surprises, but still an enjoyable watch. You agree with that?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Goldberg and Eisenberg, Till Death Do Us Part. I really quite like this movie.
I thought it was very disturbing. If you like that disturbing type of movies, this is the one for you.
If you like Kafka, if you like David Lynch.
Yeah.
There's a little David Lynch feel to it, a little bit of...
Because, you just want to take out a gun and start shooting.
Yeah. As if that's never happened in Israel. Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief.
It's fascinating.
Fascinating, well worth seeing.
I can't understand, with all these people coming out like that, why the hell they just haven't said this is not a religion?
Yeah. Well, it has been banned in some countries. I don't think it's allowed in England, but I'm not sure. For many, many years, I know Billy Graham was not allowed to proselytize in England.
And a good thing for that.
Yeah, no, I'd say because they're more sensible than Americans.
Yeah, obviously.
Or Canadians, because he comes up here too. He's still alive. Jesus has had to resurrect him 3 or 4 times because he died of old age several occasions. Okay, well that's it for us this week, folks. We're going to be back next week with a review of Insidious Chapter 3. Jurassic World, and also going to be talking about a couple of robot movies, Ex Machina and Chappie, among other things.
Yes.
So we'll be